People tend to think of cities as no-go areas for biodiversity, with wildlife like pollinators and other insects mostly restricted to nature reserves or the rural environment. Until now, there's never been a properly replicated comparison between urban and rural areas, so we decided to survey 12 British cities and large towns and the surrounding countryside. In each location, we selected 3 different landscapes: an urban one, an agricultural one, and a nature reserve. We then walked transects and recorded all the insects we saw visiting flowers in those sites. After more than 100 kilometers of surveying and a lot of number crunching, we got some really interesting results. Overall, we did see more pollinators in nature reserves than in farmland or cities, but the differences weren't statistically significant. There were some very pollinator-friendly cities and some nature reserves that didn't have many pollinators at all. Surprisingly, there were more bee species seen in cities than even nature reserves, and significantly more than in farmland. For flies in general, and hoverflies in particular, nature reserves and farmland win numbers-wise, but there's no significant difference in the number of species we saw. You might expect that nature reserves will be particularly important for rare species, but we found similar fractions of locally rare pollinators in all 3 types of sites. City pollinators have wider diets than their country counterparts, but that's because of the great variety of flowers that people grow in their gardens. So overall, despite what many people think, cities can be home to pretty substantial biodiversity, and our research shows they're particularly good for bees.